my mind a lot. Don't need no time watch. I don't know how I got you in my pocket spot. Yeah, that's babe, miss you every day. You like my oxygen, make it seem like the barging down. Got my heart no barging in. From the bed to the floor to the couch. Might wake the neighbors up, break you in and break you out. In the end, we're gonna make.
Deanna, we're back for another season 2 episode of All Time High.
Yay!
Unfortunately, though, we're not at an all-time high.
No, but you know, we'll get there. We'll keep going. It's just not right now.
We both are the opinion, and I'd love for you to share it again, that, well, I'm of the opinion that you should like and subscribe. What do you think about that?
Right down there. I think you should too. I support that opinion wholly.
Yeah. And we also appreciate your comments. Good, bad, or ugly. We don't mind the ugly. We understand. Got to have haters.
Oh, we should do where we read our mean tweets, or like when we, but be kind of nice on Jim. No, I'm just kidding. But it would be fun. Like,
yeah, I mean, we're here to have a good time. This space could definitely stress you out if you're not mentally prepared. If you haven't been a few laps around this track and you want to get in, you know, we're going to give you some solid feedback, but you got to be aware there are some landmines out there.
There are. But I'm excited to see what we're jumping into today. You had like a little something for me, you were saying.
Yeah, we've got a little, well, one of the landmines is what we're going to talk about. I've got a video from the CEO of Wintermute that was recently, it was on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and bring the screen up. We're going to listen to a little bit of it to kind of set the stage. I don't know that much about Wintermute. What do you know about this guy or that company? Or
I know the CEO's name is really hard to say.
Okay. Are we going to try to say it? Because it's not this name down here that I see at the bottom of the screen.
Evgeny? No.
Evgeny? Okay. And maybe that's why he kind of keeps a low profile, or maybe it's that the newspaper reporters.
Is it him?
That's him. The media types must not like saying his name. That's why he's not on the news all that often.
Yeah.
But what they do is they provide liquidity to all the exchanges. And I want you to watch. This is a 2-hour interview, so you can go back and watch the whole thing if you like. But I'm only going to ask for about 2 minutes of your time here today. You ready to hear what he has to say about their role in the ecosystem?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
I was convinced I would go into trading from the age of 12.
Trading from the age of 12.
Johan Turpin, a math genius and the founder of Wintermute,
One of the leading global crypto market makers.
providing liquidity on over 50 exchanges and trading platforms.
Why is it so important to not focus on the competition?
I think focusing on competition could be discouraging when it looks like competitors are big, while they actually may not be.
What is Wintermute today?
We do 3 things essentially. So the core part of the business is we're the largest spot crypto market maker. Between winter and summer, we cover 250 to 350 tokens across 80 venues, and then we have about 15% market share.
In entrepreneurship, resilience is really seen as the key strength. You should never quit. But you told me that resilience could be a bad trait. Why?
I think too much resilience may just mean that you may not be able to discern what's good and bad feedback. Resilience is only useful if you're actually going in the right direction. You need to be assertive enough about what you're doing, but you also need to listen enough to other people. Some investors may be noisy, but some investors may have very useful feedback for you. So you need to be able to filter through that noise, and that's not an easy thing to do.
There was a lot there.
There was a lot there. That was a lot to unpack.
Do you want to start? Do you want to try?
Well, so I just want to say, so for what is a market maker? Do you really know what a market maker is? I know what you just said, but like, do you actually know how coins, like how it all works or what happens?
No, share for me and the audience. Yes.
So let's say I'm a new coin, right? And I'm starting out. Liquidity is the thing. Like the more, so for example, of all the coins on the market, Bitcoin has the most liquidity. And
now, I have issued a meme coin, and I had to put my own capital into the meme coin to make sure that it would stay solvent.
Yep. Yeah. So essentially what you do is you outsource, right? You can go, and if I'm a new coin, I can say, hey, I'll pay you $15,000 a month to provide liquidity for my coin. And you could go to, I mean, I don't know if that's how Wintermute specifically does it, or if they just acquired so much, or what backdoor, but there were different places that I would talk to in Asia who would say, hey, if you paid us this much, we would provide liquidity. Actually, the Bahamas, Asia, there's quite a big chunk of them all over the place.
Like Dave Portnoy says, I'm going to keep $100,000 in here to start out, and you guys can take it if you want. But if we go up in total market cap, I'm going to keep adding more capital into the liquidity.
Yeah. Well, they're
not the same, but the same.
No. Well, so it's all they're market makers, means they're constantly trading and buying, trading and buying, trading and buying, trading and buying.
You're looking for arbitrage, right?
Say that again.
They're looking for arbitrage.
They are. Well, arbitrage, but they're providing the movement in the market to create the market. So, for example, Binance has their own, and this is where FTX got in trouble, is because they were a market maker and a coin, right? So they were an exchange and a market maker and a coin, and they own too much of the ecosystem that it got really dangerous for their coin. And so for like Wintermute, what they do is they just take on all these coins and they buy and sell and they buy and sell and they buy and sell. They have AI that does it. They have, like, every exchange does it. And this allows, and so in some ways you could say that a little bit of the market is inflated because there is this liquidity trading going back and forth, but it also allows for investors to get in and out when they need to, which, trust me, if you've ever got caught holding some coins, it sucks.
I have.
Yeah, I have too.
So, but I saw where it said like 80, it wasn't countries, it wasn't 80 exchanges, but it was 80, like, that meant to me they have a lot of holdings that they are keeping in their back pocket or left pocket. And so are they just moving the money from one exchange out of the left pocket into the right pocket? Is that fair enough?
Yeah, pretty much. You know what I mean? It's just going back and forth. So making sure that sell orders can get, like if somebody's selling, somebody's buying, if somebody's buying, somebody's, you know what I mean? Just keeping it going. So when it starts to get stagnant, and they make money, they're making money either getting paid to do this, or they're making money off of, depending on how it's set up, through each one of the transactions, just like the exchanges would. So they're getting paid on the flip side to do it, but that's all they do is just trade it back and forth.
So like so the thing that's been going on, and I just want to frame this for the people listening to the show, we know that Binance is having to get a payment to the DOJ in US dollars. And let's say it's $4 billion, which is not quite right, but it's directionally correct. So knowing that the market recently was at that all-time high of 3.7 trillion, knowing they've got a bill that's going to come due, they are depleting their assets. But do they give them to Wintermute to sell? Does CZ say, hey, take my Binance assets, these coins that are valued, Solana's at 200 and some odd bucks, can you sell them up here or drive the price down and pick them up at the lower level? Is that what's happening?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I don't know like the actual, as a market maker, I don't know their strategic plan or their business models of how. I just know that when
make money.
Yeah. Isn't that what we're all trying to do? I just remember like when we were first starting off having to talk to market makers, and it was essential for the vitality of that coin. I mean, essentially they didn't end up getting any market makers, and that coin to this day is, it's a dead coin. There's no liquidity. You couldn't get an exit if you wanted to. And that sucks for the community because, if for any reason you wanted to get out, you're now stuck with it. So the other thing is, so let's say he's going to sell $4 billion worth of coins. If I were to go on the market and sell 4 billion right now, I would crash the market, right?
Oh,
so
yeah,
like,
big time.
There's a little bit of a rhythm that has to happen to it. There's a little bit of like sell buy. Even, I was talking to some of the federal agents from some of the Bitcoin that they've been able to confiscate over the years. And even they have enough knowledge to know that you can't just go flood the market with it or you're going to crash. So, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of a dance to make sure that you're doing it responsibly and that you can still take profits as it goes.
Okay. So I'm going to take us down this AI path with Grok 3. It's the beta version on X. And I know you're in an AI space. Do you want to talk a little bit about the company you're with and some of the AI things that you're doing?
Sure. Yeah. So I work for a company called Blockade Labs, and we run a generative AI. It's called Skybox AI. It's a text to image generator that makes 360-degree images.
Awesome.
In 8K 3D. Yeah, it's perfect. It's
it's
out of the box solution for VR, headsets, gaming. Tons of use cases, things you wouldn't have thought of. A lot of big movement in the mental health space. VR is actually. Oh, speaking of which, this is a little off topic, but there's this crazy thing on D channel called The Curious Case of, and one of the ones I watched last night had to do with a VR headset and Bama from Jackass. Yeah. Right. So crazy story. If you get a chance, go watch it. But my company, we're movers for what we do in the space. We were first to market. We own market share, and we're very, very good at it, but we're not done yet. And we're just a small, nimble startup that's been able to crack some tough things. And we're just going to keep going until, we're NVIDIA.
Well, yeah, that's coming soon to a theater near you.
That's right.
So
long
all
as
the things
DeepSeek goes away.
with NVIDIA and the entire AI dynamic, what's been happening with OpenAI, right? These things are starting to evolve very quickly. So I know when I don't know. So I don't completely understand Wintermute, but I wanted to share, and I asked Grok to explain it to me like I was a fifth grader. And so that's where I feel like my aptitude is on something as complex as this. And I know when I don't know. So here's what Grok came back and shared. And so I'm going to read just a little bit. I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible. It says Wintermute is like a super smart kid who's really good at trading toys in the school playground. The kid just doesn't trade for fun. They help make sure that there are enough toys going around so everyone can play. And in the grown-up world, Wintermute is a company that trades digital money, Bitcoin, Ethereum, using their super fast computers. They're called a market maker, which means they help keep the trading game smooth by always being ready to buy or sell.
See?
So, and here's where it gets interesting. Binance and Coinbase are like the big toy stores. Do you remember Toys R Us?
Mm-hmm. I do.
What
They're out of
happened to
business
Toys R
now.
Us? This is unscripted, unrehearsed. What happened?
They're out of business. They
are.
went bankrupt. Yeah, they're out.
And I think these exchanges are ultimately going to get replaced by banking institutions and more trustworthy stewards of our money. I hate to say that. Does that make you feel kind of icky when I say that?
Well, actually, I'm so glad you just brought that up. So,
Okay.
One thing that we always talk about is pay your taxes, right? If you make profits, pay your taxes. This is not financial advice. We're just here to educate you and tell you things that we know so you can make good decisions because we're smart. And I was just watching a thing where actually it might have even been Wintermute. He's writing off like $60 million from the FTX loss because if you invest and you lose your money, you get to claim the loss.
Wow.
I know. So that's the side that people don't really talk about a whole bunch. But just know that when you're talking about the more security of these financial institutions, sometimes if you take a loss, you can get that money back from the federal government. Although we'll see how long that's going to last. But that's how it's written right now in the U.S.
Okay. And so when we think about the example with the playground and the toys, and you have the big retail outlets, the toy stores, we think of Binance and Coinbase as the toy store. And so basically Wintermute is the intermediary between the exchanges, the toy stores and the playgrounds. And so Wintermute is one of the top players each and every month with Binance and Coinbase, literally billions of dollars every month. And so they're like the kid who's always trading with the store owners to keep things busy on the playground.
Yeah.
And here's what they say is the tricky part.
Right? It's almost like the Federal Reserve, but a little different, right?
And
so
I think Wintermute, just like the kids on the playground, is coming in to control the prices of the toys, right? If you control the supply of toys to the children on the playground who are paying for the toys, right? If the Cabbage Patch, I'm dating myself, but do you remember when the Cabbage Patch Kids?
I do.
You don't.
I do. Of course I do.
Oh, do you? Okay. That was a big thing. And the price of them, people were willing to pay whatever it cost. And we've seen it come and go from time to time on different things. But Wintermute is able to artificially inflate or deflate the prices based on the availability of the coins because they control the liquidity.
Yeah. So think about this for a second. You've got the U.S. getting in bed with BlackRock and Coinbase and Wintermute. So as much as we're saying, it's in the hands, it's a great market. It's not a market without flaws, and the amount of control that can be exerted over the market with these bigger players coming in is, it's always kind of been there. But when they start pairing up together, obviously the more market share you have, the more influence you have. And,
so
but
here's where it gets crazy.
I think the U.S. is going to want to buy cheap and you know what I mean?
And here's the thing, there are no rules that govern this.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here holding out for 6 months from now in a place and a space where the House and the Senate are aligned and where the president seems to be supportive of the concept. But is it really going to take us 6 months to just get stable coin legislation through? And in that case, that has nothing to do with this. These guys are going to be running this show at the playground all day, all night, all summer. And you realize there are international implications. The U.S. at one level has been able to influence a lot because we've been on the petrol oil reserve dollar.
Yeah.
But this is not the case. I mean, Binance Coin alone is in the top 10. I mean, its market cap is several $billion.
Yeah. And just, not financial advice, but don't invest in a stable coin. you're not going to make any money off of it. I've seen, I know you would.
Isn't it to like though exchange in and out like quickly? Isn't that the concept?
No, it's stable coins always $1.
Yeah, I understand. But if I have to have my money on an exchange, I don't like to have money on an exchange. Do you like to have money on an exchange?
No, I would never. No.
Okay.
That's
But some
bad.
people do, right? Like if they're going to trade in and out of assets, it's easier to do if, let's say, instead of having 50, I mean, or is it not cheaper? Can you just trade in and out of whatever?
There's a method. It depends on where you're doing it. It depends. I mean, you could always trade into a stable coin. So like I had a guy one time, he told me the reason why he didn't sell all his Doge. He literally had over $1 million in Doge.
Yeah.
He didn't sell it because he didn't want to pay taxes on it. And it wasn't that I was telling him to avoid taxes.
No, you can't avoid that.
My
It's
suggestion was if you go to a stable coin, you don't have to pay taxes on it yet. You pay taxes when you go to the dollar. And each time you changed, it's a taxable event. So you have to record it. But again, this is, if I made it and I have it in a stable coin and I keep it there, can I move a little bit out in a tax? This is where tax preparation and understanding the laws.
Yeah,
no, that's not my forte either. It's not my forte either. But there are maneuvers and ways to get in and out to save money and to make it, more worthwhile for you.
And this is one that I struggle with, and you can say whatever you want to say because I don't have the answer. I'm going to find out soon enough. But I've been moving stuff off exchanges back to my wallet, my personal wallet, off my personal account. And I'm like, that is not a taxable event. I'm moving money, but I don't know how. I'm enthusiastic that the current regime isn't going to find a thing where I move money out of my right pocket into my left pocket as a taxable event. But the last administration, that was where we were headed.
Yeah. Remember they were going to do unrealized gains, unreal, right? Capital gains, unrealized gains tax. It's like, what?
I don't know.
Then you would have had to pay. Then you would have had to pay whether you pulled it out. And, rule of thumb is as long as you stay in one coin, you're not paying a tax. If I go USD to Bitcoin to Ethereum, that's 2 taxable events. Right?
What if you just go Bitcoin to Ethereum?
It's just one taxable event.
Does it have to be? I don't know.
I mean,
it would just be seeming like you get slammed by all the fees. I mean, that's been one of the things is I look at my stock portfolio trading in and out of it. I know there's market maker fees there too. I'm using that term loosely, but boy, the percentages on crypto, they hit you hard. They're not afraid to.
They can, but can you write it off? Like this is where
can I write off the fees? I don't know. You tell me. That would be a good question to ask.
I don't know that I've ever tried. I usually just take the report that the crypto says to me, but these are all things that'll get shaken out a little bit. You know what I mean? But it's almost it's like the cost of investing. If I invest in a 401k, do I get to write off whatever company is doing the investment for me?
No. And it's been a race.
You can get a match from your employer.
Yes.
It's
been a race to the bottom on the exchanges typically because the fees come down. And I'm talking about Interactive Brokers, and I'm talking about Charles Schwab, and I'm talking about Fidelity. And give them the volume of money. All they need is little percentages points, like not even full points, like 0.1% to take home enough money because of the volume that flows through. Meanwhile, Robinhood and Coinbase are taking 3%. So ironically, this blows my mind, but the easy for me to say, the disintermediation of Visa and MasterCard, who take 3 and 4%, call it American Express as well, is being replaced by this concept that we won't have to pay all those fees, except we're paying all those fees.
I know. I was just thinking that. I was thinking, I wonder if we ever sat up and added all the fees. It's like you just can't escape it in any ecosystem. It's like people are going to get theirs, and they're getting theirs.
And that's why I like XRP.
It always comes back to it. It always comes back
for me.
To
it does. I hate to say it, but hey, thank you for another great episode, Deanna. You're always awesome, and for telling us more about Wintermute, market maker. There's a lot to unpack there, and hopefully the regulation can get their arms around it sooner.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. Thanks, Jim.
All right, we'll see
Appreciate
it. You on my mind a lot. Don't need no time watch. I don't know how I got you in my